Good evening. This is State of Affairs with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. Thank you for welcoming me into your home or wherever you may be watching us from. The Black Stars have made it. We are going to the World Cup. So many questions around. What happens to our coach? Is he taking us there? People expressing interest in playing for the team now that we've qualified. There's also many things to talk about within the realm of sports, concerns about our athletes, whether we are investing in and supporting them enough. Also talk about recreation in our communities, what is happening at the lowest tier when it comes to sports development and talent investment. Tonight, I'll be speaking to the Minister for Sports and Creation, Edie Adam. You don't want to miss that. But have you heard the latest from MTN? If not, then listen. For those of you who love MTN Free After One, prepare for the upgraded experience. That is MTN Free After One Extra. Now, let me tell you what the extra is all about. With MTN Free After One Extra, you can talk for 1 whole hour uninterrupted while paying for only the first minute of every 10 minutes you talk, which means for every 10 minutes you talk within the hour, you only pay for the first minute, and you get to talk for 60 minutes straight with no interruptions. You like what you hear? Well, as if that's not enough, you also get 50 megabytes of data for free after your first call daily. So you see, now's the time to talk extra with all the people you love. To subscribe to MTN Free After One Extra today, just dial *550#, *550#, and follow the prompt. And that's how you enjoy MTN's one hour extra. You want to stay for me? You want to stay? We've got details right after this. Thank you for staying on State of Affairs. Who else to speak to after Ghana officially qualified for the World Cup? And I've been joined by the Minister for Sports and Recreation. Good to have you here, sir. How are you doing? And congratulations,
Thank you.
By the way.
We congratulate ourselves. Good evening to you and
Right.
Good evening to the viewers.
Good, good, good. You know, in Ghana, I've always wondered why the Black Stars going to the World Cup is such a political flag. Why does it matter so much? You are within the space, so help me understand. Why is it so important, even on the campaign trail?
Well, because Ghana is that big country. We are not a small country when it comes to Africa. And when it comes to football, we are also not a small country. So politically, we are a big country. We are top there. Don't forget that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was among the first top leaders of Africa. And he made a profound statement that our independence is meaningless unless it is linked to the total liberation of Africa. So he created opportunity for a lot of other subsequent African leaders to even be tutored right here in Ghana. So we've played that significant role politically and in terms of governance. You come to football, we still celebrate our glorious old days. For a very long time, we haven't won an AFCON before, since I think 1982 was the last time we ever tasted it. But look at the number of times we won before then. And from that time till now, we haven't. But we still are among the countries that have won the African Cup quite a number of times. So it tells you that when it comes to football also, we are not a small nation. And since we began our participation in the World Cup, 2006, we have gone to every World Cup except the 2018 that we failed. So it's become a big thing that if you don't make it, it's like you have lowered the standard, the bar. And so it's a big thing. And we're happy that once again, after the 2018 deviation, we are back to that level of consistency.
You're happy with Coach Otto Addo now?
Well, I'm happy with everybody. I'm happy with Ghanaians. I'm happy with the players. I'm happy with the technical team. I'm happy with the media, even though you may have done certain things that didn't help the team.
Like what?
There have been a lot of reportage that sometimes create situations in camp. And sometimes you rely on just a bit of a story that is told. And when you pick just a bit of a story, it can give a different meaning. Because sometimes a statement made, part of it, if you don't give the complete statement, it gives a different meaning. Like if you say, oh, a coach is lucky, and is a lucky coach. It's a coach that comes with luck. Luck is indeed part of football. You can't rule luck out. You can be good, you can be great, but you can have a bad day. So luck is part of the game. So if a coach adds luck, it's a positive thing. But if you just make a quote out of a long sentence that is made, it can portray a negativity. The media have tried to do this, but I'm happy that because we gel, because we communicate, we have that open door communication. Most of the things that were written that could have created the situation, but I'm happy with the media, the kind of report that they give us. So I am happy with everybody. Am I satisfied? I'm satisfied with the results, but there's still room for improvement.
Is Coach Otoado taking
It's like
us into
it's
the
like
World
a
Cup?
student. It's like a student who writes an exam, scores 80%, which is A.
There's more room
But you
for
can
improvement.
still see the teacher say that there's room for improvement. Not because the 80 is not an A mark, but the teacher knows that student, that the 20 marks that is left for you to hit 100, you can still get about 5 more or 10 out of that 20 if you add a little effort. Another student will get 70, and they will say, you have done so well, because they know your capacity was maybe 65, but you made 70. But the one who made 80, you are telling the person that there's room for improvement. I think there's room for improvement in every department of our soccer.
I'd like you to translate that into the realm of the Black Stars. And we'll be talking sports generally, but let's talk about the Black Stars because we're all excited about going to the World Cup. How would you rate Coach Otoado's performance?
Well, I'm not in the business of rating performance of persons, especially when I've not been a coach before. Like I said, I am happy we have qualified as the minister responsible for sports and recreation.
But are you satisfied?
My joy is that we have qualified.
Are you satisfied?
That
About?
we have qualified. Yes, I'm satisfied that we have qualified for now.
You just gave an analogy about more room for improvement and another getting 70% and being given the thumbs up. What situation are we in now?
And I'm saying that,
is it a more room for improvement or it's a thumbs up?
So for tournaments, games like we have stages. Assignments are put into stages. We have the qualifying stage. Have we qualified? Yes. So as far as this stage is concerned, I am satisfied. Because we have qualified. And we are one of the nations to have gotten the highest points. Every team from start had available to the team 30 points. Because you were going to play 10 games, and if you won every game, that is 3 points per game, 30. Ghana, we made 25 out of 30, meaning we mixed only 5. That's a good performance. So
is that a more room for improvement, or it is a
thumb
up?
So it should tell you that. Why? When they started, you are supposed to make 30, and you got 25, meaning that you still have 5 to aim at. It means that you still have 5 to aim at. So there's room for you.
Right.
It means there's room for you. That if you had made 30, then I can say that there's room for improvement in terms of points. But once you didn't make the 30, you say there's room for improvement. But I'm satisfied because the project at this stage was to qualify, and we have qualified.
Is Otoado taking us to the World Cup? There's a lot of conversation about even some players wanting to come back, wanting to play for Ghana now, even though the conversations had started earlier prior to us playing the World Cup qualifiers. But is Coach Otoado taking us to the World Cup?
Coach Otoado has a contract with us to run our team as a national coach. That contract has not come to an end yet. So it will clearly be unfair to start talking about, whether he's going to the World Cup with us or not going to the World Cup with us. So if before we will have any of these conversations outside, if we want any change, we should engage the person first. That's the way I work.
What's your relationship
but I
with
have
him like?
publicly stated that I am happy with him because most times after a game, he identifies that we should do this, we should do that. We should have done this, we should have done that. Yesterday, post-match conference, he admitted certain challenges that he saw, that maybe we could have done this, we could have done that. So it gives me a lot of joy. Somebody else will win and say, I have won, so that ends it. Yes, football is about winning. It's about getting all the points. But it is also important when you have other, it's not the finals. When you have other games ahead of you, to admit that, oh, maybe you saw this weakness. So it means you will still be hunting for the best. Look at the inclusion of Sibo. Sibo was not part of the team until we went to Chad and played 1-1 against a team we scored 5-0 here. And quickly, there were some challenges, so they have to bring him in. He came in, and he's held the midfield very well, together with the very experienced Pate, who is already in there. The distribution of the balls and the control of the middle became very, very effective. What it means is that, well, he saw something, he saw that there's a need to inject somebody, and he brought in that person. And me, as the minister, have always supported those calls. They are supposed to call 24 players. But there was an instance even after Ghana-Chad, we had almost about 28 players in camp. And I was prepared to pay for the additional numbers to come in. Because I have to support them so that we can do what? Succeed. I cannot insist that, oh, because it should be 24 and 24 are already in. Even when you are having challenges, don't bring in the fresh legs that you have found that can help the team do very well. Look at how strongly Sibo has helped the midfield with his injection when we came against Mali and when we played against Central African Republic and also against the Comoros yesterday. So it's always good. It's always good. So let us not discuss about whether he's going. He has a contract with us now. That contract has not ended. Until any other thing happens, he has a contract with us.
But what's your working relationship with him like?
Excellent. Excellent. Everybody knows me. I'm not that type of person who hides my feelings. I'll see it as it is. Like I said, I've given him the maximum support that I have to give him. I have guided, I have protected, I have stood by the team, I have stood by the technical team. But where I have issues also, I talked about it. If I feel there's room for improvement, I won't come and sit and say, oh, he's excellent. Neither will I call Otoado incompetent, because I've not been a coach before. So I don't qualify to call somebody who is doing what I haven't done before incompetent. But if I watch and feel that, well, this is what he should be, I can say there's room for improvement.
But I've always wondered, right, as a minister, how do you judge between the coach is supposedly failing or the players are not pulling their weight? And it's a big debate within the sports fraternity about who takes
the fall for some of these things when they go. Well, you see, the truth is that we know almost every player and we know their individual strengths and capacity. We watch them play either at the club level, we watch them play some of the national call-ups that they do. And so if for a particular day they are not picking up, you, the coach, have a responsibility. One, either to bench them. It means that you shouldn't have had them in there. There's something wrong that you should know, whether it is something psychologically that you should have worked on that you didn't work on, whether it is something physical, maybe an injury that you maybe even sometimes maybe the doctors will tell you, but you decide that no, to hell with what the medical doctor is saying, I want to put the person in. That is why mostly when it doesn't go so well, they put the blame on the coach, especially when they see that the performance of a particular player they know the player to be an A-class rated player, and this is how the person performs. And for a particular game, they are seeing the person not playing up to his level, and the coach is not shouting at him from the touchline or making a substitution, then you end up being blamed. Otherwise, they all have their fair share. Sometimes a game can go so well, you don't win, we think that it went so well, so we don't blame anybody. Luck was just not on our side.
So the buck always stops with the coach for you?
Sure, you are the technical head. You are the head of the technical team. You have been given the responsibility to assemble the team. The team didn't select themselves. The players didn't select themselves. You selected them and gave to management that these are the players that, having scouted around, having facilitated my movement to check all the players, having had the opportunity to sit down with my video analyst, these are the players that I think we can use for this game. And after training, these are my first 11. Nobody forces you.
Are you sure nobody forces? That brings back to my next question. We've had previous coaches either allude to that the external pressures, and officials, and the football politics is an interesting one, because you have football officials and executives who have players.
Yes.
Some of them have teams,
Yes.
own teams.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of strings being pulled here and there. Are you saying to us here on national television that our coaches do not come under any pressure when it comes to team selection, when it comes to player call-ups, when it comes to even sometimes deciding who to substitute and when to substitute?
Bernice, I pay the coach on behalf of
all of us.
All of us. I have not called the coach to ask him to pick player A or player B.
Maybe you don't have interest there.
So if I don't, and I tell you that if you don't perform, you will be fired. And you allow somebody else to come and push you to put somebody you think is not the best. Then, as somebody who say it, because I have no, my interest is that you give me the people you think are the best. And like I have said, if today the coach comes up to me and say that, well, the players I have used for these qualifiers, I still need some more external hands to try, I will support that. And I will allow him to bring the external hands that he needs to try other positions, so he can go with the best. I don't intend to interfere with this exercise at all.
But do you know if any other official interferes? Do
Well,
you know
I have
if he
heard,
comes under pressure from any other officials within the GFA or even within government?
I have heard such stories before, but I've been telling the coach since I became the minister that I am not interested in interfering in that process. And so, because I want to hold him responsible, so he should not allow anybody to interfere with that process. He has not come to me. And speaking here about Otuado, the Otu that I have read about and know how he is, and with his where he grew up, if he was under such influence and pressure, possibly he would have
told you about.
Especially that he knows I am that person that will not go saying what somebody tells me to another person. No, I listen to your story, I take it, I listen to another story, I add it, it helps me to make my decision. If I'm making my decision, it will not be because, Bernice, you told me this, or Ibrahim told me that, and I'll come and tell Bernice that Ibrahim said this, or I'll go and tell Ibrahim that Bernice said this. No, that's not me. So I don't expect that to happen. But this is not to say that people will not attempt. People will not. Some, they are not doing it because of any personal interest. They are doing it because they have spotted somebody with talent that they thought you should pay some attention to, that you may not have. Maybe your scouts may not have seen such a person, so they are drawing your attention. So even as minister, sometimes I get such things. There's one Facebook name, Zachariah, Ajia Zacharias, something. She always have been posting issues of especially football and sports-related activities, both in diaspora and even local. So most times, I go to her page, I see something interesting, I throw it to the management people, or I share it with the coach, depending on if it's a female player or if it's a male player, at what age, I share it with them. And just ask them to also monitor, to follow on this person.
So it's not necessarily pressure, it's just alerting them,
alerting them that if they are not maybe following this person, maybe be interested in watching this, he or she may come up with something that you are looking for, but not to impose on you that, no, go for this player, maybe because I have interest in that player. If you feel that player, the rating of the player will go high, and I can sell the player and make some, and then earn more money.
Now, talking about ratings and talking about people wanting to be visible enough when it comes to playing on a certain world stage in football, we know that there are a lot of players outside the country who are dual citizens. There have been conversations about whether they want to play for Ghana or not, and Ketia is one of them. And quite recently, just around the time where we had one foot in the World Cup, that conversation sprang up again on social media, and he has expressed interest in playing for the Black Stars. But a lot of Ghanaians aren't happy. The mantra is, why should the monkey work for the baboon to come and, have a field day?
Well, the truth of the matter, Bernice, is that football is an emotive thing. So I'm not surprised that people will speak this way. It's more like, we needed you then and you were nowhere to be found. So we don't want to even see you at all. But beyond the emotions, you also must do some other analysis.
Okay.
That is why for all the time you see team improvement. I'm saying, we went to Chad. It didn't go too well there. All of a sudden, the technical people have to meet and plan something. They even invited a player that was not even qualified to play for us, hoping that FIFA will clear, he will have all his necessary switch, and FIFA will give a clear for him to play. He came here, he slept in hotel, took part in everything, but he couldn't even appear on the bench, because if he did, we were going to lose points. So it means that at all times, you want to try your hands on something. So should we have said that because Sibo didn't play up till about maybe game 7th, so we shouldn't invite him for game 8? We invited him, he came. He added something that possibly was missing in the game. And we are all full of praise for him. We are going to another level. If the technical team feels that there is a particular hand that they need, or a particular leg, let me use this case because the players who use their legs more, that they need, and that person has not featured before, but that person is available now, and they approach me for that support, I will not hesitate. Even though I share in this emotive analysis of, you were not there for us, so don't even come now. Wait till we finish the World Cup before you come. I will give them the necessary support. After all, we're supposed to take about 23 or 24 players to the World Cup. So it means that it's not just 11 or 16 or 18 that have been so regular in playing. There are some who have come, they have only been on the bench all through. They haven't played before, but they are part of this team, the squad. So if the coach and his technical team feels like, well, Nketiah is playing some great football and we need him, if he's available now or if he can be spoken to, why not? All of us will get involved, leave the emotions aside and support that cause. After all, this will not be the first time that would have happened. In 2006, our coach Otoado didn't play the qualifiers or most of the qualifiers. I don't think even he played any qualifiers. The team qualified before Coach Otoado was brought on board to play in the. A lot of other players who played the qualifiers didn't go to Germany 2006. So this will not be the first time that would have happened. I understand the emotive part of football. It's it's an emotional thing. Look, you can see someone that you think that, oh, for this person, maybe he will use other faculties in analyzing the situation than just the heart and emotion. It doesn't work that way.
Is that not what makes the game what it is? Sometimes, speaking to Ghanaians and engaging feedback on social media, some people feel that some of the players, especially the ones who we refer to as not born here or ones that do not play in our local league, don't carry a certain passion, don't carry a certain energy that comes along with the game. And so it's almost like a laissez-faire thing, just playing, not wanting to injure themselves because their jobs are at stake and their teams, take care of them better than we do here at home. And so the emotions are on both sides.
We've heard that story before, but sometimes when you watch these players play, you tend to think whether it is truly the case. Look at a player like Kudus. How you see him running around for all the balls, going for the 50-50 balls and what have you. The only thing I haven't seen Kudus love to do so much is the aerial balls using his head. But for his legs, even when you are so much afraid for him, he will go in for it. So why will anybody suggest that maybe a player like that, because the person is thinking much more about his other career, so when he comes for national assignment, they will not do well. Well, it may be, but I haven't seen so much of it getting closer to the game. But once again, I'm saying that football, yes, is the percentage allocation to emotions is higher than any other thing when it comes to football. Beyond the technical people, beyond the people who are handling the game. So it's important to factor the emotions, but it's also important to factor other things in taking your decision. I repeat, if the technical team analyzes the situation and feels like they need any injection into the team, I will not hesitate to support them. I will not join the emotional conversation only and say, no way, when we were struggling, they were not there. I would allow them to give them the try. If they will help the team in any way and the coach feels like he needs them, why not? We should be able to give them that opportunity. People have mentioned other players that have played for the nation before, like Baba Rahman and then the rest, that should we not be engaging them to call them again? There are some who have even asked about the captain of the team, Andre, that, can't he also come and feature where other countries have done it like that before? So there's a lot of conversation that is happening around. But I'll leave that for the technical team to look at, and when we get into the detailed discussions with them later, and that's what they ask for, we'll support. That's why we have lined up a lot of friendlies. Unfortunately, we are not going for AFCON. If we were going for the AFCON in December, that would have been an opportunity for us to test our team again, but we failed to qualify for AFCON in 2024, and so we will not have the opportunity of coming against the best in Africa to use it as a training platform. So we'll have to arrange a number of friendlies. Maybe,
but would that be enough preparation for the team?
But that is all we have, unfortunately. That's all we have. We failed to qualify for the African Cup of Nations. So all we have is to be able to have friendlies.
So how many friendlies are we looking at? And
well,
what kind of arrangements are we making?
Immediately we have 2 in the window that will come in November. And we want to go to the Asian zone to play Japan and play Korea this is a World Cup we are going to. So you have teams from the Asian region, you have teams from the European zone, America and Africa all coming in. Most of our players at least play in the European zone. So they come against largely European teams and what have you. A few play in the American zone also, but not too many play in the Asian zone. And their style of play is completely different from the style that we see in Europe and the Americas. So it's good to try something against them also to prepare your team. So the selection and getting Japan and Korea for friendlies is a good thing. We will try that in November. We will look for other opportunities. I believe that even whilst AFCON is going on, if there's any room for us to get any team to want to play on the side that is also not there, that is willing, we will explore that opportunity because we want to do well and do well in the next World Cup. We just don't want to go and participate and come back. No, we want to go in there and do well. So the failure to qualify for AFCON for the first time in 20 years, we'll have to find a way to compensate for that by arranging all kinds of friendlies for our team.
You've done a lot of bold things when it comes to managing the GFA, the Black Stars, when you scrap the winning bonuses and all those things for the executives. What informed that decision, really?
Well, it was actually out of an agreement. I didn't just take personality. I don't take decisions alone. We agreed on this right in our February meeting. So it was just unfortunate that the agreement we had at a point, we saw some go back to the old ways of doing things. But we needed to put our foot down to say that, no, this is what we all agreed on. So let's stick to that and work with it. I didn't want to see us wavering on what it is we have agreed on. If we say this is the way we are going, I don't want midway you want to come and do anything to change the situation at all. So
was it an agreement on all sides, or there were some? Was it a majority carry the day thing, or everybody was on the same page?
I don't know whether the conversation environment made it so, but I didn't see any opposition to that. I didn't see any opposition.
But what was the reasoning behind it?
Well, the reasoning is that if you see the arrangement was like that, you pay certain monies during qualifiers. And what if you don't qualify? It would have become a wasted investment. So we said, well, then let's both of us take some risk. I'll give you this, I'll hold this. If you work hard well for us in all your games and we qualify, you get some other due yours is management. Your responsibility is to manage the team to make sure that it qualifies for the World Cup. I can only give you a reward when we have achieved that objective. You get nothing now as a reward, but I'll facilitate your work. I'll facilitate your work. I'll give you travel tickets. I'll give you accommodation. I'll give you a per diem that I'm supposed to give you for running around. But the other reward that usually will come with it, your reward is only after qualification. We'll sit down and talk. By which stage I know that because we have qualified, some revenue is coming. So if I'm giving you, I'm not losing. Ghana has no loss. You too, you have also gained. You have also at least gained a tap for what it is that you did. So,
have you settled on what the reward is, or you're yet to make a determination?
We are yet to make a determination.
No, and it will definitely be monetary.
Sure, it must be monetary.
There are times when we've seen people get vehicles and other sorts of things.
Well, that will reach the vehicle stage and house stage when we go into the competition itself and we do better than we have ever done or Africa has ever done.
That's going beyond the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Did you see the video from? I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have seen the video from the FIFA president congratulating us.
Yes.
Yes. It created a lot of nostalgia for me.
I see this World Cup we are going as an African World Cup.
And is Ghana poised to win it?
Ghana is poised to win.
With the current team we have, are you confident? Or we need to work on it?
I think the team, the players are good individually. We need to give them opportunity, like you said earlier, to play as a team by putting them together even more. But if we can all support the various departments of the team, we can go really far. We can go really far. You were talking about other players that have not played for us yet, who are good and are available, wanting to come in. I see this World Cup. You know, the first time Africa ever gave a shock to the world about its strength was in US 94. So I think that when Cameroon and I think Nigeria did so well, they did well at that World Cup then, before Ghana showed its strength in South Africa and Morocco topped it in Qatar 2022. So the very first time we showed that strength was on the American soil. I think that we are going back now to seal that strength that we should. And Ghana is in a position to do that. You may be surprised that we are not going to AFCON, but we'll be the first to have played the finals of the World Cup.
Is this a prophecy or a prediction?
Well, it's both.
You're watching State of Affairs this evening. I'm having a conversation with the Minister for Sports and Recreation. We've been talking about the Black Stars qualifying for the 2026 World Cup, addressing issues about player call-ups and if Coach Otto will be taking us into the World Cup. The minister says, well, he can't tell for now because there's a contract that hasn't even expired, and so we need to wait until that happens, and then we will know. I'll be coming back to have more conversations within his sector. We'll talk about boxing and the unfortunate incidents that have happened quite recently, and also talk about sports development at the basic level. Please stay with us. This is State of Affairs with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah, sitting in for your regular Joshua Kojo Mensah. Tonight I've been joined by the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Idi Adam. Before we continue our conversation with him, have you heard the latest from MTN? If not, then listen. For those of you who love MTN Free After One, prepare for the upgraded experience that is MTN Free After One Extra. Now, let me tell you what the extra is all about. With MTN Free After One Extra, you can talk for 1 whole hour uninterrupted while paying for only the first minute of every 10 minutes you talk, which means for every 10 minutes you talk within the hour, you only pay for the very first minute. And you get to talk for 60 minutes straight with no interruptions. You like what you hear? Well, as if that's not enough, you also get 50 megabytes of data for free after your first call daily. So you see, now's the time to talk extra with all the people you love. To subscribe to MTN Free After One Extra today, just dial *550 hash, *550 hash, and follow the prompt. Thank you for holding on, and thank you for joining me once again as Sports Minister. Let's talk about boxing now. Unfortunately, we've been in the news for all the wrong reasons when it comes to boxing in Ghana. Unfortunately, a young man died. He's not Ghanaian, and he had to be taken back to his home country in Nigeria. And also after that, we had our own Baubali also passing away. There's been a lot of conversation around what exactly killed him, whether he was not fit for the fight, was he pushed in against doctors' advice, and then it came to the suspension of all boxing activities. That also created a lot of controversy because people had already invested in games that were fights that were just about to happen. What's happening in the boxing fraternity? We know that the Sports Authority boss has been trying to initiate some reforms. But tell us, from where you sit, are we in a good place? Is Ghana boxing in a good place?
Well, I must say that we are taking steps to make sure we correct all the wrongs that have been suffered by boxing. But sometimes you may be driving and a car will get involved in a crash or in an accident. Well, you take the necessary steps to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's exactly what the ministry is doing, to make sure that we correct all the things that we think are not right with that sporting ecosystem. And we've put an IMC in place, which has really commenced work strongly. And I'm impressed with the work they are doing so far, the sub-teams they have put in place, the first report that they brought after 1 week. I'm really satisfied that they will come out with something that will really straighten our boxing, and our boxing will be great again.
The former Ghana Boxing Authority president raised a lot of concerns just before deciding to resign. You had issues with him and the National Sports Authority boss?
Beyond his failure, I have no problem with him. If you looked at
his failure to do
if
exactly
you looked
what?
at the report, Ambassador Amaka Amatifio's report of boxing and boxing-related activity, I think they were just running an activity there called boxing that didn't meet the standards. That they kind of, even their own statutes, their own constitution was set aside. The Ghana Boxing Authority's own constitution was set aside, and they were just doing things the way they wanted. And that is wrong. It looks like they had a different understanding of what they didn't even advertise their minds to the Sports Act and then the sports regulation. They don't even know that. At a point, I was even hearing them saying, oh, Ghana Boxing Authority is independent. It doesn't come under any authority of the National Sports Authority. They don't. Meanwhile, it's very clear that even your license to operate is renewed. And the NSA has a right to withhold your license, to withdraw your license, and to make you not function. They said they were equal to the NSA, and they are. The people even thought that the GFA is not regulated. The GFA is regulated under the National Sports Authority. Yes, because maybe football is what it is. Sometimes they get a certain relationship with the ministry and government directly without getting involved in the NSA. But I'm even trying that in the shortest possible time, you may hear that the GFA budget estimates, let me call it estimates because that's not budget. Budget is when funds have been allocated. Their estimates for support would have to be routed through the NSA because their development programs must actually be subjected to NSA's regulations. So we are working to beef up the NSA itself. So if you look at the names we have proposed for the governing board of National Sports Authority, they are serious names. So we want to begin from there so that all federations, including the Football Federation, can have confidence in dealing with what? The National Sports Authority. So we will get there. So back to the boxing thing. I think a lot was going wrong. And you will have people who support wrong because they benefit from wrong. I don't know whether it was your station that I think I watched that news item where a certain community, they were demonstrating against President Mahama for fighting Galamsey. And that is what they do and survive on. So why is he fighting Galamsey? Women who may have given birth and they have young children that will be drinking arsenic-infested, contaminated water and contaminated foods, and then the rest. We're demonstrating that they prefer Galamsey happening to fighting Galamsey. Is Galamsey good? No. Are some people fighting the president and government for fighting it? Yes. Because for them, they look at short-term personal gain and not what is good for all of us. So people may fight you for stopping a wrong thing. That does not mean that you are not on the right course. Once you know that as a leader, you have been given assignment to take decisions that will give people comfort, that will make some people unhappy. Yours is to carry on with the decisions that will make everybody okay, including those who think that they are okay now. You want them to even be better and do the right thing and be okay. And I'm happy with what is happening through the IMC. And I believe that when they finish their work and we relaunch local boxing, we can say that we would have done and put in place the right structures that will support the safety of athletes, that will support the investment of people who invest in sports, that will make that combat sport much more safer than we have witnessed in recent times.
What are their timelines? When are they done with
Well,
their
they
work?
have 3 months to finish their work and opportunity to have a 30-day extension.
3 months
But
since they were launched, not
since they were inaugurated. And I've asked them that within a month, I want to see something very well in place. And so far, the way they are working, I believe that within a month, we should see something happening so we can reopen boxing locally also.
So there's a possibility of reopening before they finish the 3-month work.
Yes. Right. The 3 months is the maximum time, first and foremost, that they have. But if clearly it shows that they can ask for another 30 days, making it for 4 months maximum. But then I've asked them that within a month, they should be able to, and if they put those things in place, local boxing can also start, because some of the things that must be done will take more than a month, but they are not so directly like training, that program that we want to do, and then the rest. That cannot, everything can't be done within a month. Everything can be done within a month.
Interesting. But this whole normalization process, we've seen it before, right? We've seen it within the football space.
Well,
how are you sure that this implementation is going to be as effective as we want it?
Well, I'm determined as a minister because I know clearly what the president wants for this country. When he says reset, he meant it, that we need to reset everything. We need to reset. It meant that, like, we started well somewhere, but along the line, we mix the way. So when he says reset, then we are resetting to the glorious days. And you can't reset if you don't hit some persons. In the course of resetting, some people will necessarily must be unhappy. If everybody is still happy, then you are not resetting. If everybody is still happy, you are not resetting.
So how do you deal with those who are not happy?
Reset, well, you will just continue to engage them. In democratic dispensation, engagement is the rule. But when you engage and after all the engagement, still they are not listening, you would have to go ahead and implement a decision that the Constitution allows you to do. So if anybody is dissatisfied, the courts are there that you can go to either stop the person from acting. If you feel that person is acting ultra-vires, that's against the Constitution, you can go to court to seek determination from court whether what you are doing is right or wrong. That's what, in a constitutional democracy, that's what happens. So first is engagement. If it fails, you go ahead and implement. If they still disagree, they have a route to choose.
In the case of the former GBA president, did you engage with him? Was there
a number of times
engagement?
A number of times. But they just wanted things to be done the way. He came to my office and misbehaved, and my staff, my former chief director and others really were all that.
When you say misbehave, what do you mean?
Oh, I don't want to go into, that's history, so let's leave that.
Because that's such a broad...
I want to look forward and let us correct the mess that have been created. That should be the focus for me now. So let's leave those conversations. You realize that I did not waste my energy and time responding.
But you just want to put on record that you did engage with him prior to his decision.
Of course. I engaged. He came to my office. Twice in my office. Other times I have a lot of audio recordings of him here. So one time he came with some of his officers. When I played his own audio, By the time they left there, the people he came with thinking that they were coming to, almost all of them abandoned his. Why was he saying that he was left alone, running around doing what he was doing? These are not like me recording him. He himself, they send me audio recordings that he sent me. They are still on my phone.
Interesting. This is State of Affairs, and we are talking sports with the Sports Minister, Edie Adam. I'm going to a subject matter that a lot of Ghanaians love, which is athletics. Yes, we are more than a football nation. We are actually a nation of passion when it comes to sports. And in the just ended World Athletics competition, we saw a lot of Ghanaians coming really strong. Ghanaians who were competing for Ghana and some of Ghanaian origin who were competing for other countries. That appears to be a matter that worries a lot of people have engaged. Say, how could our own brothers beat us on the ticket of a different flag?
Somebody said anytime an African country was playing against France in a World Cup, for example, it's more like that United African country against United States of Africa.
I know, right? It's quite an interesting thing. So that brings us to the point on the issue of athletics. Let me start off with investing in our own talent. Yeah. We've seen many Ghanaian athletes either leave the country on scholarship, go school elsewhere. They're trained by coaches from other countries. Some of them are eventually poached by those countries. Rose Yeboah, she did such a wonderful, gave such a wonderful showing at the World Athletics Championship. And we also had our 4x100 gentlemen who did very well, and I was really sad that they couldn't make it onto the podium because the time within which they crossed the finish line was lower than their qualification time. So we were really hoping that they could get onto that podium. Yeah. What are we doing for them as well in terms of investment and reward? So
Bernice, even before I talked about what we are doing for them, you are so right when you mention athletics. I don't know of your days in secondary school, but in our days, athletics time was the most enjoyable period in school. People enjoy the athletics period than football. Only few students will be interested when it is football or hockey. But when it is athletics, the whole school is moved. And so truly we are athletics country. We loved it most, and we must continue to invest in there. Today, many schools that had this equipment for athletics, like even shot put, javelin, and all, don't even have any such thing anymore, and which is bad, which is wrong. People in this modern time are still running on tracks that you have to be watching where you place your feet. Even those who are lucky to run on tartan tracks are running on tracks that have, I'll call them potholes. So our investment in terms of infrastructure for athletics is bad, and we need to do a lot more in that area.
So what are you doing about it?
Well, that is why, if you listen to His Excellency the President, when he talks about the sports infrastructure and he mentioned the stadia facility that will have to be done, he made it quite clear that these are stadia not just for football, but will have the athletics tracks and will have other complexes for you to be able to maybe play other sports like basketball, volleyball, handball, netball, and so on and so forth. So bringing back that hope. And we intend to do same to a number of districts. We cannot do all, but we will start with something that at least within a zone, you will have a field with athletic tracks that zone can go and compete in such a decent track or train on such a decent track, so that your first time you are running on a tartan track will not be only when you come to the national level.
But that was not budgeted for. Are we going to hear it in the November budget reading? Are you going to?
Well, of course, that's why I'm saying that the 7 stadia His Excellency the President is talking about will have these facilities. Okay. The next budget, the ministry is going to have some capex. And our capex plus a little of our goods and services will go into maintaining some of these bad tracks and also building a few ones also. We are also working with a sports fund that will be established. Once we begin to get money into it, they will also go into infrastructure. So we will have something to be able to really work with. Our support system has not been the best for athletics. And if you look at their budget and what they need to be at that stage, it's very little as compared to what we put in some other sports. So,
what is the reason for that disparity?
Well, for whatever it is, it looks more like... No, let me not say what I want to say and just assure people that we will do what is right for all the other sports.
Did you forget for a minute that you were the minister for sports?
Not that you see, I don't want to talk about so much of past. I want to see what we can do, rallying everybody on board. If people didn't know that, you must know that your little contribution today can help someone out. It shouldn't just be government alone.
Is it also the case that, when it comes to football, like you just mentioned, when we go to the World Cup, we get something, as a country, we are rewarded financially. Could that be a reason why the investment in athletics is not, as forthcoming as it is with sports? Is it the returns?
Well, returns could be a reason, but you see, sports is not also only about returns. Sports does so many other things that that are intangible, but they influence so much. And there are a number of athletes in various fields that also bring so much to a country. Look, Jamaica, yes, music-wise, you can hear of them in some aspect of music, but Usain Bolt and then others brought so much attention to Jamaica and drew a lot of visitors to that country, and till date, they are still benefiting. So there's so much sports persons and athletes, when they perform at that great stage, can bring to a nation indirectly. So it should not just be about the prize money, but there are many other things they bring to you freely that may not be in the price money. So investing in that is also right investments. And so let's see how Ghanaians will respond positively to the sports fund, so that all of us, I know before we leave here, you make a pledge that when it is established, maybe every month you contribute some 100 CD to the fund, and I'll send our people to come and collect
I sure will do that, but the next question on my mind is that will my money be used judiciously? Because I think for many Ghanaians, that's the challenge. We hear of too much happening within the space with regards to corruption. Right. And I think it is also the reason why sometimes companies and individuals struggle to invest in the sports.
You are so right. I won't mention the company's name. I approached a company and wanted them to come in and help pick responsibility of some technical persons that we have. Then the person said, why should I come and pay somebody when another person not doing the work is taking part of that pay? So perception has led to mistrust between maybe the one who would have donated or supported and the one who would have managed the donation for the benefit of the athlete, now not being able to receive what the person is supposed to be receiving. So we have to build that trust so that people know that if I'm putting in a pesewa, that pesewa will go into good use. Look, the last time we have to fix our fees for the stadia, gate fees for our games, there were many who thought that we were increasing it too much. But I asked a couple of questions that we have to start from somewhere.
Okay.
You go and watch a game in Europe and you come and post how neat their washrooms are, how neat the seats are, and so on and so forth. It is because the gate fee you pay there is not chicken change. So they are able to hire people to do the work that must be done. Where you put only one cleaner in charge of all the washrooms, they are able to put a cleaner per hole. So they clean it regularly. So you can go in there even taking your popcorn. But in our case, sometimes when you enter there, even the pee that you are going to can even dry up almost immediately. So do you want that to continue, or you want to have a difference? So if you want to have a difference, let's start from somewhere. Begin to pay a little more. I think Ghanaians responded because they realized their money will be put into good use. Yesterday after the game, we had cleaners who stayed on and cleaned the stadium for use today, because today there's a game. By this morning, their Oinijan Sports Stadium was clean for another game. Yes, there are still some areas of challenge. Areas like seats, people buying tickets and getting in there, and others have taken their seats. It means that we still have room for what? Improvement. To make sure that seats are numbered, and when seats are properly numbered, it goes a long way to help. So if I'm holding a ticket that is number maybe A001, and I get there and somebody is sitting on ticket number A001, I can show my ticket and let you know that you are not the one supposed to be sitting there. If you challenge, we call the security, they look at, and they will resolve it quickly. But because we don't have that, and we are just selling the tickets, and if you arrive early, you get a seat within a particular zone. People go and sit, they don't have tickets, and then you want to get them off, and they tell you that they have tickets, they have only thrown their ticket away. And people who are really holding tickets now don't get seats. So this area like this...
How did they even enter in the first place without tickets?
Well,
it means there's a gap somewhere.
There's a gap somewhere. You know, sometimes our people, Kofi Adams is going, and 10 people are following him because he says he's a big man. He gets there and then weekend.
Doing some e-gates or something?
And weekend. Well, we
digitizing the process?
You see, our 10 stars are not the electronic ones. So the electronic ones would have allowed only one person to enter when your ticket is scanned. But this one, because it's just open. If that big man is coming with his force, he gets there, then they open and 4 or 5 people follow who don't have tickets. Maybe the big man was even given complimentary ticket and one. But the person moves, so they go and occupy the space. And those who paid for now don't get a place to sit. These are areas we are going to work to improve. So it's the next phase of our stadia improvement and upgrade that we seriously will be looking at, so that in future, people who don't have tickets will not go and occupy seats for people who would have paid for tickets. And let me use this medium to truly apologize to Ghanaians and fans who bought tickets only to arrive at the stadium and they didn't find seats because others have taken over their seats. We're sorry about that, but that is the next area we are going to work to sort out. We've done the issue of cleaning, we've done the pitches, we've done the lighting, we've done quite a number of things. Security improved yesterday, but this one is long term. Now that we've finished major qualifiers and it's just left with the league, we will start the process of seeing how to deal with that part of development also.
Right, interesting. So there's a concern also about developing sports at the basic level. I know you touched on the 7 multi-purpose stadia that you have intentions of putting up, but there's also development of sports at the secondary school level. You spoke about athletics during your time. I also have a story to share, but it looks like when you come to the school level, the infrastructure have been allowed to deteriorate. There is no... who really is responsible for this, for either maintaining or putting up, upgrading school infrastructure to help development of sports at that level?
So that's why when you listen to His Excellency the President, when he addressed the nation through Parliament, what we usually call State of the Nation address, he made it quite clear that he was asking his sports minister to work with the education minister to establish school sports authority, the authority that will be responsible for sports development right from the basic level, right from the foundational level, like before primary, JHS, SHS, and university, so that there will be that consistency, both in investments and also in career pathways. So we are taking the grassroots sports quite seriously, and myself and the Minister for Education have been working seriously in this area. That's why I was talking about smaller community pitches and zonal level tartan tracks that would also be developed within a particular zone to encourage more school sports activities that will happen. Those times we used to have inter-schools, inter-circuits, then super-zonals, and so on and so forth. So that kind of concept of national, we want to make sure that it comes back. We want to make, it's going to come with infrastructural support. Part of it will be coming from the sports fund to be able to improve our athletic performance. And also, we are going to make sure that, you know, these days, secondary school has become just like 2.5 years. In the university, you spend even much more time in the university than you do at the secondary level. So we want to make sure that we follow these processes all the way even to the university, that we are not just going to leave the university because they are tertiary institutions or colleges of education alone to run it the way they want, but the school sports authority will be interested. We are also not just going to leave it to become only a GES matter. So because mostly, once there is no money, sports is the first thing that suffers. Once there is no time, sports is the first thing that suffers. They cancel it out of the schedule. That, oh, we are not doing sports this time because either we don't have money or there is not enough time. Because it's been labeled as what? Extracurricular. So they see that, okay, that is not our main curriculum, so let's just put it aside. With the establishment of a school sports authority, it will no longer become something that will be treated as just maybe an option, but it will become part and parcel of the process. They will find time and they will find the resources to make sure that it is implemented. That is the idea, that's the vision of His Excellency the President, and that is why we have been working to implement. Just this morning, I had a meeting with one sponsor who has agreed to put in so much in school sports. The KGL group of companies who is doing so quite well in many other sports areas have also agreed, because this year we intend to stage a national athletics competition of all the regional competitions. Yeah, this year we are working. When? We want between November and then December. It's been planned. It's something that is already here. It's something that we intend to stage it to give opportunity for these athletes to try something at the national level. So it doesn't end just at the regional level. So we're working to bring to life school sports and grassroots sports. The GFA is also doing something good when it comes to the development level of the game at the very grassroots levels also. We want to see how we can further enhance, because the court system is not working so well. But most of these kids, because of the new system of education, find themselves in school. So if you don't strengthen your school sports, you tend to have a challenge because they are in school. So it is the school. Those times you find them mostly outside of school, so you are able to collect them out there. But today, because they are in school, you must make sure that your school sports is strong. So the codes and all the development pathways are there clearly for them.
Talking about schools, UDS, they put Ghana on the map beautifully. And it was really exciting to see how the boys are even playing football so passionately. You spoke about not hesitating if the technical team of the Black Stars think that they need any talents beyond what they have to help the team for the World Cup. Are we looking into the UDS team as well?
Well, they are Ghanaians, they are qualified. The UDS or the FISU games allow for people only within the age of 18 and 25 to participate. There are players even there that are even younger than that age who couldn't go because they are below 18. And so if it's 18 and 25, this is prime age for also national football calling. If the coach feels that any one of them is so good and excellent enough to be called to try himself or any way, why not? We have a lot of trial games. He can try them if any one of them is good. But they did so well. This is the first time an African university participated and went beyond the group stage. The past two, since its renewal, had not gone beyond the group stage. They haven't even won a game before until UDS went and they did what it is that they did, showing that, yes, Ghana rightfully is representing Africa and representing Africa well. Because of that feat, Now Africa is going to have additional slots. It's no longer going to be just one slot for Africa, but through this victory, the next time we meet for FISU Games, Africa will have more than one slot to compete for the gold.
And I know this may appear as a football question, but I'm taking it from the angle of investing in local talent. There are concerns also about the call-up to the Black Stars, about fixation or seeming fixation on Ghanaians who play outside of the country, and we don't really see our local stars shining, and that's why the technical team was really credited for bringing in our latest goalkeeper, who many believe has done such a good job keeping our nets.
So
can we go into the realm of having a quota system? I remember South Africa did it in one of the tournaments where the coach really focused on local talent, and it really showed. The theory and the argument here is that for a lot of these players who play in the big teams in Europe and elsewhere, there really is nothing to die for. There's no hunger to go further than where they are probably. But for these guys who play locally, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of drive to put in a lot of work so that they can also get spotted by, some big teams out there. So why don't we have a quota system?
If they put in drive and they get spotted by the good team, then they also go into the same cycle.
And that way you're pushing more of your talent out there.
So that's not the solution to the problem. I think that I would not go for really a quota system. What I would go for is improving our local league, both in terms of quality of players and play, and also its broadcast. So that if it is properly and well broadcasted, scouts can even sit in a room and monitor. But if you have your league not being shown anywhere, how will people even follow? It becomes challenging. It's easier sometimes to follow the European League than you would follow your local league, even sometimes being in Ghana here. But so that is why we are seeking to improve the local league.
How are you doing that?
Well, you would observe that this time around we have opportunity to even telecast a number of games live. We are injecting capital, money into the local professional league, that for the first time, before the commencement of the league, each of the professional league club was given 1 million Ghana cedi to start, so that they can use that to at least improve their technical situation and give us better football. So if you are giving better football, we will have more of the Benjamin Asaris show their heads. People will not be seeking to run to even war-torn countries like Sudan and what have you to go and play there. They will stay here and play because Ghana is what we call the oasis of peace. Because we have peace, if we treat these players very well, they will stay here, play well, stay longer, and draw more fans to the game. And once the love and the interest is shown, people will follow. So I want to see more of that. Once that is done, if the local people are the best, so be it. But if your best is out there, so be it. As a minister
so you don't
who
agree
spends...
with the quota system?
No. I don't think that we should just give a quota system for giving sake. If you give quota and you say, okay, maybe 30% should come from the local, and they are not good. But because you have insisted at 30%, then they have to go and bring the 30% like that, when maybe your best is out there. So for me, I want the coaches to go for the best, wherever they are. As minister, it costs me more when the players are coming from outside, because I have to buy business class ticket for them to fly from their base to Accra.
Why business class, though?
Well, but what should I give them? You take a player like, let me use this example. Semenyo and Kudus played on Saturday, knocked by other players, maybe sustain some levels of injuries that they are suffering. In the evening or the next morning, I say they should be flying to Accra or Morocco and report to camp. Then, Bernice, you want me to put them in the economy class where their legs will fold like this. And when they arrive, I want them to pick their bag immediately and go for training. That's wickedness. if I can't give them opportunity for a recovery training after playing the next day, I should be able to give them a certain level of
So it's
comfort.
about convenience.
It's about convenience.
All right.
It's about convenience.
We
So I say it costs me more when they are out. If I have more local players like Ben Asari that we gave us an example. Ben Asari is just in Accra here. So if he bought even his Ubakra, he loves Shatta. So if he bought Shazi, he will get to the camp and then it won't cost me anything. Right. I would have loved to have that, but I'm not for quota system. But I am for us improving our local league. And you can pick even 100% from local.
I'll be coming back to wrap up the conversation. We'll be talking about happiness because guess what? The minister is also in charge of recreation. How happy are you living in Ghana? And what is his plan to ensure that everywhere you are, no matter where you are in this country, you're able to achieve some level of happiness? I'll be back. Thank you once again for allowing me into your home or wherever you may be. This is State of Affairs with me, Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah, and I have been speaking to the Minister for Sports and Recreation. We've spoken quite extensively about sports. Sports is such a broad area, so many angles, so many questions. I hope we've done justice to what's on your mind and your hearts. Let's now talk about your happiness, because the Minister is also in charge of recreation, and I'd just like for him to share with us what he's doing in that aspect as well.
So it's recreation and wellness. We want you to recreate and also be well, because there are a number of non-communicable diseases that we should not be spending money on if we just exercise a little bit. Sometimes we can relieve ourselves of even psychological and mental issues. Sometimes a little exercise will make sure that you don't suffer diseases like heart-related, diabetics, and what have you. So it's interagency, interministerial, broad area. So we've had engagement with ministries, we've had engagement with agencies that will have to come on board, like National Health Insurance Authority. We need them on board. The Ghana Health Services are on board. The Tourism Ministry is on board. Local government is on board. Education, Interior, because of security services. So we've been having engagement to have a broad base, and that's why we launched the National Recreation and Wellness Program on the Kwame Nkrumah's birthday holiday in Ododo the last time. We are continuing with many other programs that will be happening. We are taking advantage of the festival period. You know, September, October, November is full of festivals. So we're taking advantage of this period also to create awareness. So yesterday, you saw some persons in their National Recreation and Wellness Program T-shirts and banners at the stadium with leaflets, educating persons about the need to take your recreation issues quite serious and wellness. A little walk here, a little exercise here, a little check here, and so on and so forth would be important for your well-being. We have also recommended for appointment a National Recreation and Wellness Program Coordinator. So His Excellency will soon make that appointment, and so you will have an officer.
The ministry is not enough to do that job? Don't
No.
you have
You have
officers
to.
within the ministry?
Well, we have officers, but somebody must be a point person. Somebody must be a point person. Just like the way all programs start and grow into a full agency. Now we want to start it as a program, and we'll grow it to become an agency, because the ministry used to be youth and sports, and we had National Youth Authority as one of our agencies. Now it is sports and recreation. So there's a need to make sure that the recreation part of the ministry also stands strong as an agency. So this program will necessarily be developed into an agency of the ministry. So we start with the program coordinator, and we develop the concepts into it becoming an agency, because it's key area. Recreation and wellness is a key area, it's a big area that when it is done and done well, it will help this country, both in wellness program, and of course, recreation. So every sport will also have the joy of it. Football is competitive, it's an elite sport, but football can also be played for recreation part of it. There are many elite sports that can also be done for the recreational part of it. And that is what this seeks to push. And we are going to do it and do it very well.
I've heard you mention advocacy and education. Does it end there? Are you
No,
just focusing on
it doesn't
advocacy
end there.
education?
Of course, there will be infrastructure. And that's why I mentioned Ministry of Roads and Highways and local government are part of the agencies that we are collaborating, because we need to develop parks where people can just go.
I am so happy you've mentioned this, because I was just coming to that. There seems to be a challenge, but then again, why don't you tackle this from the bottom-up approach? Why aren't you looking at municipalities and districts and engaging them?
Somebody must do that. Somebody must be responsible for that and see to it. And that's why we are engaging. We are not leaving the chiefs out, because some of the lands, community lands that have been sold by these chiefs. So we are asking them that leave such spaces so that it can be developed. Sometimes you have people who want to develop community parks and you have no space to develop, because everything has been sold and now you have concrete everywhere.
And just for clarity here, when you say park, you don't mean that to be a football pitch,
No.
right?
I'm talking about parks with trees,
yes,
and
where you
gardens.
Can have a picnic,
you have a picnic.
read a book.
See, like the way you have the Efua Sutherland's Children Park. This is even so big, but you can even have small parks. Just one plot park, 2 plots park, that you can have your picnic, community can meet, you have some greens, you have some trees, you have some walkways that people can walk and go around and feel safe, that there's no car tooting at them, they are afraid that a car is coming to hit them. The Ministry of Roads and Highways, because in our new construction, we must create space for biking,
cycle
and then also for, exactly. So we are collaborating with all these. Yeah, because we must get there.
It's very ambitious. How are you going to ensure that this is really done?
Everything must start from somewhere. And that is why, especially for roads that we haven't developed, we are asking that when we are engineering them now, let's add that to it. We want people to bike to work. On which lane are they going to bike to work? You'll be knocked off the road just one day. Look at the young lady in KNUST who was knocked down. She has biked all her life, got into the university, and one day she was just going for lectures and bang, she was knocked and she died. You can imagine if we had biking lanes, this may not have happened. No car would have gone in there unless no car would have followed you into such a space to go and knock you off. So we're taking recreation serious. The president knew what he was about. You see, he promised to reduce number of ministries and number of ministers. Indeed, he kept to that. He brought number of ministries from about 30 to 23, brought ministers from 120-something to 60. But he still saw it necessary to separate, to create 2 ministries out of 1. It used to be youth and sports. But he said, no, the youth needs special attention. Sports needs special attention. But let me add recreation to it. So we must not joke with that agenda. And that's why we need everybody to come on board. The media, the chiefs, the local government authority, the roads and highways people, the tourism people, the health, Ministry of Health, and the agencies under the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Interior. We collaborate with the security services and sector for us to have this regularly, so we can really keep fit and keep well and enjoy our lives.
There's also an idea about, probably for the tourist sites, giving a bit of reduction to locals, Ghanaians. Is that something you're looking at, just to encourage people to take a trip?
That I have heard the tourism people seriously look at it. It looks like we're making local tourism so expensive because we're not doing that. Even in some areas, look, what they have done is, over the weekend, they try to reduce the rates for local people. So it will motivate you to just spend some weekend with a family away from home.
Or even in the lean season, because we know that there are seasons where
you don't have occupancy rate is very, very low. So you reduce for the local, so that, but if you keep the same rate, well, I'll decide to drive in traffic and go home and go and stay with my family because I see first the cost and not even the value of taking my family out. But if you can bring the cost down and people begin to enjoy it and they see how good it is, tomorrow when you raise the cost even high there, because they have seen the value of it, they will come and pay for. And the children they are coming with, when they grow, they will no longer look at the cost, but they will look at the value of it. And they may pay the high cost just to enjoy the value. So we must try and do something for tomorrow for all of us. It's something that we must
When
do.
are we likely to see tangible results? I'm particularly concerned about the recreation, also because, you know, the doctors have become very concerned about screen time for kids. The challenge for many parents is there's nowhere around that you can take the kids, there's safety concerns, there's monetary concerns. And so it's something that bothers on development. So when are we seeing tangible
Bernice,
results?
I agree with you, but these are also areas that we all have a responsibility as community leaders and community people. You and I want a big swimming pool in my home. I want a small basketball court in my home. I want all these things just in my home. So I take so much land and fence it. The next person takes, the other person takes. Then you see a big estate of homes and no community space for the community.
But doesn't that fall with the municipalities, the districts?
Well,
Because
that's why I'm saying.
there should be zones,
that's why I'm saying. So
dedications.
all of us must agree to allow these things to happen, and those in charge must make sure it is happening. Because we love to travel out and we enjoy the space and the greens that we see. It doesn't take magic to do it. It doesn't take magic. So let's see how all of us together, the media, you have also a role to play to help push this agenda. We can never do without the media. That is why when we all thought that we wanted the constitutional democratic dispensation and you were described as the fourth estate of the realm, it's because you have a role to play there. So the freedoms that you are supposed to enjoy help us also in propagating and sending the message out there. And let's take on people that we must take on to be able to see to it that we get results that we desire.
All right, so there are a few comments coming through. This is from Yaru, who's saying that he shouldn't try to play smart on Ghanaians. He should maintain the squad and groom them rather than recruiting foreigners into the team who should suffer and qualify and someone from nowhere to come and enjoy. He shouldn't try it, else he won't like it. And this is in response
Bernice,
to whether or not we are going to bring the likes of Nketiah to the World Cup.
I wish I had the power to bring anybody. I don't have that. But all I'm saying is that as minister, the technical people will put in place what they bring up. I will not be emotive about it. I will sit with them and we will reason it. We'll reason it out.
All right. Ellie says, tell him to drop that idea of inviting these rejected players by England into the Black Stars. That move is going to be the nemesis of the team. We shan't even move out of the group stage. And this is Ellie's prediction. We also have Solomon.
Did he say we won't move out or
Yes.
won't go beyond?
I'm sure that I'm reading exactly what he says, but what
okay.
you're interpreting is exactly what he meant to say.
Okay.
Solomon is saying, what provisions are there to support SHS Sports? We've tackled that already. Source of funding is a problem. We are really suffering. And Mark Davis is asking, what was the reason GTV was showing 4 people standing, not showing as supporters, so it has concerns to do with. Please leave our GTV alone. But on the lighter side, though, you were in the stadium to watch the match, right? But the one they played outside the country, were you watching on DSTV in your office or at home?
I watched quite a couple on the ones they play out that I wasn't there. I watched them on DSTV.
In your office?
I watch both. I think some of the games
because we are worried. We understand that the ministries and the agencies were supposed to get cut off DSTV. So,
but they are cut off doesn't mean that as a person I can't pay for
so it's
DSTV.
personal funds.
But if people who come to visit me and then the TNT that sometimes they take from me is no more than DSTV that I pay for a month, and I can't pay for DSTV for a month. And for crying out loud. Assuming
you saw those messages, right?
Assuming the president even said so, your sports minister is not traveling to go and watch the game. When you travel, it may cost you more you will have to buy tickets for me, business class ticket, pay for my accommodation.
Are you supposed to be flying business class?
Yes. We are only not supposed to fly first class.
Okay.
There's a difference between business and first class.
I know.
So
I know.
we fly on business. You are entitled to a business class ticket.
Okay.
And you are entitled to per diem and accommodation.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, I didn't go for all this. So are they saying that the minister should not monitor the game live? So that the minister, if you have any input to make, you can make an input. So if assuming that we spend something small to enable the minister, that sector minister, to watch for that part, what is wrong with it? What would have been wrong with this? I don't think that the president was suggesting that even where you needed to do something to aid your work, don't even go for it.
So this is for work purposes?
Of course, but I'm minister for sports. And when the national team is playing and I'm not able to go there because you have to do other works, I must find way to be able to monitor the game.
I'm grateful for your time this evening.
Thank you, Bernice.
Mr. Idiado. He's Minister for Sports, Recreation and Wellness, and we've been answering questions about the Black Stars going to the World Cup and all that we believe is important within the sports ministry to discuss. Thank you so much for your company. Do stay with us here on GHOne Television. I'm Bernice Abu-Baidoo.